Sullivan's crossing S4 Kofar Amidi Maggie's Sasirat husband twists Sully's emotional farewell. You know that moment when a show looks you dead in the eye and says, "Don't worry, we've learned from our mistakes," and then immediately proves it's learned absolutely nothing. Yeah, that's exactly what Sullivan's Crossing Season 3 just did. And oh boy, Season 4 might be walking straight into a storytelling disaster we've already suffered through before. Because I've got a theory. No, scratch that. I've got forbidden knowledge about why Maggie's so-called secret husband twist isn't just a shock, it's a ticking time bomb that could derail the entire emotional investment we've been building for 3 seasons. And I know some people will call me dramatic, but listen. If you lived through the Cal Maggie, Andrew saga, you know exactly why I'm sweating right now. I mean, I thought we buried the love triangle trope in the backyard seasons ago, right next to Maggie's failed engagement and Cal's brooding looks by the river. But apparently, the CW is out here digging up the corpse, slapping a new name tag on it. Hi, I'm Liam, and pretending we won't notice. Spoiler alert, we noticed. But here's the question that's been haunting me since that finale: why now? Why throw in a mystery husband when Maggie and Cal finally reached something resembling happiness? Why, when Sully's arc actually gave us some of the most heartfelt, grounded moments in the entire series? And most importantly, what does this twist mean for Season 4's endgame? Stick with me, because once we break this down, you'll see the bigger picture. And it's not just about love triangles. It's about the writers quietly planting seeds for something much messier, and maybe even preparing to rewrite who Maggie really is. Let's be honest, the first 2 seasons of Sullivan's Crossing were basically a masterclass in dragging out the obvious. We knew Maggie and Cal were destined to be together. We knew Andrew was a narrative speed bump dressed in a lab coat. Yet, they still stretched that triangle until even the trees in Timberlake were sighing. And now, Season 3 ends, and just as Cal and Maggie finally stop circling each other like they're in some kind of emotional NASCAR race, boom, enter Liam, a summer fling that somehow has legal paperwork attached. I've got to be real here. This isn't just recycled drama. This is drama with the serial numbers filed off. They've taken the Andrew blueprint, run it through the CW soap machine, and printed a husband reveal, as if that's gonna fool us into thinking it's fresh. And the worst part? We just watched Sully's emotional goodbye. Him heading off to Ireland in a beautiful moment of growth. That subplot showed us that the show can do quiet, character-driven storytelling without turning every scene into romantic warfare, which makes this twist feel even cheaper. Here's the secret the writers don't want you to think about: Liam isn't just a twist for shock value. He's a tool, a plot device to reset Maggie and Cal's relationship back to square one without technically undoing their progress. It's the perfect conflict machine for writers who aren't sure how to keep things interesting once the couple actually gets together. And that, my friends, is forbidden knowledge territory, because if you spot the pattern, you start to see just how often Sullivan's Crossing leans on mystery men to stall romance instead of pushing it forward. Think about it: Andrew in Season 1 and 2, Cal's doubts in Season 3, now Liam in Season 4. Each time Maggie's romantic life is about to stabilize, a new what if gets thrown in. It's like they're afraid to actually explore what Maggie and Cal's relationship looks like in a healthy, everyday setting. So instead, they keep smashing the reset button. And let's not forget, the last time we had a new arrival plotline, it dragged on for 2 full seasons. Imagine Season 4 ending with Maggie still torn between Cal and Liam, while Sully sends postcards from Ireland saying, "Hope you figure it out, kid." Okay, audience poll time. Drop this in the comments: if a show gives you the same love triangle twice, just with different faces, is that lazy writing or is it sticking to the formula? I'm genuinely curious because my gut says it's lazy, but hey, maybe you love the chaos. And for those of you who've been here since my Sullivan's Crossing Season 3 final breakdown video, remember when I said, this ending better not be a setup for another season? Long will. They won't. Yeah, I hate being right. It's the same feeling as predicting a rainstorm and then forgetting your umbrella. Also, I'll admit part of me wants to see how they justify Maggie never mentioning a literal husband until now. Like, did she just forget? Was it some Vegas weekend gone wrong situation? Because if so, this might be the wildest CW backstory reveal since Riverdale decided to throw in organ harvesting cults. Watching this breakdown, that means you're just as hooked on Sullivan's Crossing chaos as I am. So do yourself a favor and hit subscribe right now, because I'm going to be covering every insane twist in Season 4. And trust me, this Liam storyline, we're only scratching the surface here, so let's rewind for a second. Because the Liam twist doesn't just drop out of nowhere. If you trace Maggie's storyline back, there are gaps. Big gaps. We know she left Boston after the Andrew fiasco, we know she returned to Timberlake to help Sully, and we know she's had no shortage of medical drama and romantic chaos. But what the show has never done is give us a fully detailed, lost summer timeline. The writers have left this stretch of Maggie's life suspiciously vague, and now suddenly they can fill in the blanks by saying, oh yeah, she got married. It's almost too perfect. Too clean. Like they deliberately kept that summer off limits so they could swoop in during Season 3's finale and say, surprise, we had this in our back pocket the whole time. That's why I'm saying, Sully's farewell might not be as disconnected from Liam's arrival as it looks. Her and the Sully connection, secret foreshadowing. Sully's trip to Ireland was framed as this emotional, cathartic goodbye. A man finally confronting his past and seeking peace. But you have to remember, in Sullivan's Crossing, nothing ever happens in a vacuum. Here's the theory that's been keeping me up at night. Sully's departure clears the emotional stage for Maggie's biggest personal reckoning yet. Without her father as a steadying influence in Timberlake, Maggie's life is wide open for disruption. Liam isn't just a romantic obstacle, he's a destabilizing force. And without Sully around to give Maggie the slow down, think about this, pep talk, she might spiral. In other words, Sully leaving could be the writer's way of removing Maggie's safety net. So Liam's presence hits her harder. And that means we're not just getting a love triangle, we're getting a potential character regression arc disguised as romantic drama. Alright, let's talk about the thing no one's really digging into yet. The timeline. If Liam was truly a summer fling, then for him to be a husband, a few very specific things had to happen. They had to get legally married. Maggie had to either never file for divorce or the divorce is still pending. This all had to happen during a period where Maggie was also supposedly still working through her feelings for Andrew or dealing with Cal. That means one of two things is true. Option A. Maggie's been keeping a massive secret from everyone for years. Option B. The writers are about to retroactively rewrite her timeline to make this work. And honestly, neither option paints Maggie in the most flattering light. If it's option A, then the show has to justify why Maggie, the straight, talking, no-nonsense doctor we've been rooting for, would hide a marriage. If it's option B, then we're entering the dreaded retcon territory, and that's where loyal fans start to lose trust. Okay, hypothetical for you, what's worse? Your ex showing up uninvited to your wedding, or your secret husband showing up to your new relationship? Because in Timberlake, I feel like that's just a Thursday. Seriously, I want you to drop your wildest theory in the comments right now. Was Liam secretly in Timberlake all along? Did he know about Cal and was just waiting for the perfect dramatic moment to drop the, "by the way, I'm your husband," bomb? Or is he about to tell us that Maggie married him for some bigger reason, something that actually makes her look noble instead of reckless? Because let's be real, if they want to save this twist, they have to give it stakes beyond, "oh no, she's in love with two men again." We've done that dance. I want a twist that makes me sit up and say, wait, this changes everything. If you remember in my Season 2 Episode 9 breakdown, I joked about Maggie needing a relationship support group, because every man in her life eventually turns into a plot device. Well, here we are. I hate being prophetic, but that's why I'm curious what you all think. Does Liam even last the whole season? Or is he just a 4-episode grenade designed to blow up Cal and Maggie's peace before disappearing? Tell me below, because I've got my own suspicion that Liam's arc is going to end in a way no one's expecting. Now here's the really dangerous thought. What if Liam's introduction isn't about dragging out the romance, but about setting up the end of Sullivan's Crossing? Stay with me. We've seen this pattern before in other CW dramas. Introduce a game-changing character, use them to push the main couple into crisis, resolve it in a bittersweet way that feels like closure. If Season 4 ends with Maggie making a choice between Cal and Liam, and that choice happens to align with her leaving Timberlake, then the show could very well wrap up there. Especially with Sully possibly not returning from Ireland, the emotional anchors of the series would be gone. And if I'm right, Season 4 isn't just another chapter, it could be the last chapter. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Season 5 opens with Maggie running a brain surgery clinic in Paris, while Cal grows a mustache and joins the Timberlake Town Council. Because if there's one thing Sullivan's Crossing loves more than love triangles, it's wildly reimagining characters between seasons. But that's also why we keep watching, right? For every frustrating twist, there's a little part of us that loves the absurdity. It's like emotional roulette. Sometimes you win, sometimes you end up with a secret husband, subplot. So here's my deal with you. I'm going to keep pulling at this thread. I'm going to follow Liam's every move, Sully's postcards from Ireland, and every suspicious gap in Maggie's timeline. Because if there's a bigger twist coming, and trust me, my gut says there is, I want us to be the first ones to call it. So make sure you're watching for my next breakdown, because this husband thing, it's just the tip of the iceberg. The real storm is still on the horizon. And until then, maybe check your own summer flings, just in case one of them shows up saying they're your spouse. Timberlake rules, you know.